I'm Noel with Noel's Frags, and I got wood fragrances to talk about. So it's cooling down now here in North America, specifically the South, and we can finally reach for something a little richer than all of our freshies. That's right, it's wood season, baby. Fall brings the woods. All the leaves are on the ground, and you just want to spray on something woody to accompany that nice foliage. So I went through my collection and I kind of picked out my most wood-centric scents. Wood-centric scents. It's kind of a tongue twister. But I picked out these fragrances and I wanted to talk about them. So first up, from Mugler, you have Pure Wood. It comes in its typical like Amen plasticky bottle, and it has wood texture to it, so that's kind of nifty. If you're smart, you actually take the, kind of see, let me get in there. There's a little line here. If you really carefully do it, you can actually take a razor blade and just cut that out. Because people always gripe about the atomizers being really bad. They're not bad, you just have to cut the rubber so it does it properly. I get it, it would be nice to have a presentation that you didn't have to alter. So back to the video, back to what we're actually talking about. So this is a woody fragrance from Mugler. You get that classic sweet patchouli mintiness, sort of like Amen DNA, but with a backbone of oak wood, which is a nice change because most fragrances tend to use cedar when they want like a woody accord that isn't like sandalwood. They usually go grab cedar. It's like the go-to for some reason. So smelling a different type of wood is really nice. This oak is, I'm a fan. I like a different kind of wood. I like the oakiness. I like the Gayaks, you know, something different, you know? So this is good. I kind of have these fragrances on a spectrum. So the list isn't necessarily like the first one is like my top, but it's just, this is probably one of the heavier wood-centric scents. So the sweetness of the Amen is kind of puts it on the heavier side of the spectrum. So it's not offensive, it lasts for a long time, it's a very pleasing DNA, but some people have issues with patchouli, so if you're one of those people, maybe try it before you buy it. It's not an expensive fragrance, you can pick them up used. I think this was like 35 bucks. I got it in one of the swap groups, so it wasn't super expensive. Next, you have Kenzo Tokyo. So this is a discontinued fragrance. Let's go with that. And it comes in, you know, the little Kenzo style. It kind of looks like a bamboo shoot. When you get the 100 milliliters, they put like a ridge in there, I think. I'm pretty sure, yeah. But this is the 50 mil. I had to do some hunting to find this fragrance. It still has some like thickness to it, but it's on the fresher end of the spectrum. It starts out very citrusy with like lemon and grapefruit, and it dries down to a really nice like peppery Gayak. So you have like pink pepper in the mid. So this is, I don't know, I was really surprised. Like I tracked it down. Like you get on Fragrantica or Base Notes or Parfumo, and you start looking up, you know, notes and fragrances that have these compositions or accords or specific notes. And this fragrance kind of popped up after I'd like made this concoction. I was like, you know, I want something with grapefruit, pink pepper, and Gayak wood. And this popped up, and I was pleased. I totally blind bought this. It was discontinued, sealed in the box, and I sprayed it, and I was kind of unimpressed on the initial spray. Then I came back to it. I don't know if it just needed a little time to breathe or what, but that citrus really popped. And then you could smell the pepper, and it totally melded really well with the Gayak, and just boom. It was a awesome, fresher, but still like had some solidarity to it. Performance and sillage are, you know, pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like a monster by any means, but the scent itself is very good. You have Tom Ford's Oud Wood. This is a smooth, woody concoction. Like you have a lot of wood going on in here, and it is not necessarily super light, but it's not necessarily super thick. It's just kind of hits the sweet spot in the spectrum. And oud is not a prominent note. If there's any in here whatsoever, I can't really pick it out. I smell a lot of other woods, like, cedar, sandalwood, and, rosewood. Those are more so what I pick up on. But I feel like it's a great semi-formal fragrance. I feel like this would be most at home at, like, maybe just in a collared shirt. I mean, you can go higher with it, dress more up, wearing a suit or whatever, because it just smells refined. And it has that Tom Ford sophistication about it. So definitely a plus. I think this is perfect for the season with the cooler weather. So Tom Ford Oud Wood. All right, so we're getting into the lighter side of the spectrum, and then you have stuff like Stash from SJP. So this is a designer celebrity fragrance from actually Sarah Jessica Parker. But it's very unique. It's a very, I'm not a huge sandalwood fan. One of the most popular sandalwood fragrances I know, mainly sandalwood, is Creed's Himalaya. And I smelled that, and it was just this wet, soapy sandalwood. And I wasn't a fan. I didn't like it at all. Stash is definitely equally sandalwood-centric, but it's a much drier sandalwood, and it's not soapy. It's just very clean. Maybe a hint of pepper, maybe like a hint of some sort of incense, but it's 90% sandalwood. Like, that is the main thing you're getting off of this. I would not call this a creamy sandalwood by any means. It's not sweet, it's not creamy, it's very dry, very refined, very sophisticated smelling sandalwood. So, but it's the central player here. Sandalwood, sandalwood, sandalwood. Like, that's what you're getting with it. This is also discontinued. I think it runs around like 50 plus on, it's a 50 milliliter and it's like $50 on, third party like eBay or something like that. So if you can find it and you like sandalwood, this is for you. And then we're skewing even more onto the dry side of things. You have Creed's Royal Oud. Again, another fragrance with oud in the name that I don't get oud whatsoever. It's a good fragrance. Very sophisticated, masculine, woody fragrance. It reminds me of like a library. Old paper and wooden shelves, but it's also next to like a lumber yard. It's like a little bit of like that sawdusty smell to it. It's very dry, but it's like a sophisticated working man. I don't know if that makes sense. Like a blue collar guy wearing a suit is what this smells like to me. Like someone who works with their hands, some sort of woodworker, but they go to formal events too, Carpenter, throws on a black tie every now and then, and that's this. That's what the vibe this gives off. It's very dry, it's very woody. I don't get any oud, but it has this air of sophistication about it. You're not getting sandalwood. This is still in that whole like cedary, oaky kind of vibe. But yeah, it's just another wood concoction that I don't get oud out of. But it smells good, and it's definitely a wood-centric fragrance. And last but not least, maybe my favorite on this list, Le Labo's Gayak 10. This is a simple fragrance. It's just this lightly smoked Gayak wood. And not like charred, not sooty. It's just has the slightest tinge of smoke to it. And it is so beautiful and so simple. Not a projection monster. This is a very personal fragrance. It's gonna sit close to the skin. It lasts for a really long time. Like I can smell this like 14 plus hours if I spray it on, the inside of my elbow. It lasts forever, but it's really, the projection is very slight. And then the sea edge is a little, very small. It's not a lot, but it's because it's a personal fragrance. It's a masterpiece, man. As beautiful and simple as this fragrance is, it is stupid expensive. Aside from the month of September, you cannot get the city exclusives outside of the city they are exclusive to. So this is the Tokyo exclusive, meaning someone, you or someone you know, has to go to Tokyo to get it. And luckily for me, I had a friend who was headed to Tokyo, and I made a request, and he was able to swing by and get this for me last year. So super glad he did that. Super grateful I get to have a full bottle of one of my favorite fragrances. I had gone through the decant I had, and maybe there was like one spray left. And now I have this, and so that's awesome. So those are some of the woodiest fragrances in my collection. If you haven't tried them, I recommend maybe getting some decants or trying to track some of them down. Yeah, some of them are discontinued and there's not really like a viable replacement, but you know, try to track them down, see what you can do. If you enjoyed this video, hit me a like or subscribe to see more content. And as always, thank you for watching.